Hello, welcome back to another video from Dragonfly Awakening. I'd like to share something with you today in a video form that's a little different. I'd like to talk about something that's probably the most misunderstood in all of spirituality. Something I'd like to guide you through toward the door of understanding. You can call this more of a contemplative video, but perhaps transmission might be better. I'd like to do so because I feel it'd be more effective in the absence of my personality. So you are welcome to close your eyes and listen. And if you don't, I'm going to show you some nature scenes from around here where I live, so you can't see me anyway. There is perhaps no word in spirituality more misunderstood than enlightenment. The moment the word is spoken, the mind begins constructing images, radiant sages untouched by suffering, permanent bliss, transcendent powers, freedom from all human limitations. Entire industries have been built around these ideas, and because of this, many sincere seekers spend years chasing a destination that doesn't always exist in the way they were taught to believe. But what if awakening is far simpler than we have made it? And what if its simplicity is precisely why so many people overlook it? Physicist Richard Feynman once said, "If you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics." He wasn't dismissing the science. He was pointing toward the limitations of the human mind when trying to grasp realities beyond their ordinary intuition. Awakening carries a similar paradox. The deeper one enters into it, the more difficult it becomes to fully explain with concepts alone. Not because it is inherently mystical or inaccessible, but because it exists prior to language, prior to philosophy, prior even to identity itself. At its core, enlightenment is not the acquisition of something new. It is a shift in awareness, a recognition, a remembering. What becomes complicated are not the fundamentals of awakening, but the implications of living from that recognition afterward. People often become consumed with trying to understand why awakening happens, what mechanisms cause it, whether it is neurological, energetic, spiritual, psychological, or something else entirely. But often the more meaningful question is simply, what now? Because awakening does not require us to understand the machinery behind existence in order to live more consciously within it. Life itself already knows how to breathe. The heart already knows how to beat. The soul already knows how to unfold. The invitation is not mastery. It is participation. And perhaps that is why awakening is better understood not as a theory, but as a journey through changing terrain. There are landmarks along the way, periods of clarity, periods of confusion, expansions and contractions, insights that appear suddenly and dissolve just as quickly. Some questions disappear on their own. Others quietly transform into answers without ever becoming verbal. Not everyone experiences this process in the same manner. For some, awakening arrives gently and almost invisibly, like a quiet dawn slowly illuminating a dark landscape. For others, it can involve profound energetic movement, emotional release, heightened sensitivity, altered perception, or deep psychological restructuring. Neither path is superior. Neither path is more legitimate. Human beings unfold according to their own unique nature. And not everyone is meant to become a mystic, a healer, teacher, or renunciate. Spiritual culture often subtly pressures people toward specialness, as though awakening must culminate in becoming spiritually important. But life does not ask all flowers to become the same flower. Some are called toward stillness, some toward service, some toward family, some toward creativity, some toward ordinary human life lived with extraordinary presence. Trust the intelligence of your own unfolding. This becomes especially important because many people approach spirituality carrying unconscious expectations shaped by stories of dramatic enlightenment experiences. We hear accounts of overwhelming bliss, ego death, cosmic unity, visions, ecstasy, and complete liberation from all suffering. And while such experiences certainly occur, they are not necessarily the norm. Most often, awakening unfolds gradually, in small openings, in subtle recognitions, in moments that seem almost too ordinary to matter. And strangely enough, this quieter unfolding is often healthier for the human system. It allows life to reorganize itself slowly, gently, naturally. The nervous system adapts, identity softens, perspective changes. One learns to embody awareness rather than experience it temporarily. Because awakening is not about collecting extraordinary states. States come and go. What matters is what remains when the experiences pass. This is why enlightenment cannot truly be achieved in the way the ego imagines achievement. In many cases, the seeking itself eventually exhausts the seeker. The endless striving, improving, chasing, purifying, fixing, transcending, eventually it becomes unsustainable. And somewhere within that exhaustion, surrender begins to emerge. Not defeat, surrender. And what falls away is not the authentic self, but the accumulated architecture of identity we mistook for who we were. The roles, the masks, the defenses, the stories, the endless effort of becoming. Enlightenment is not becoming something else. It is seeing through what we are not. In this sense, awakening is not a destination at all. It is more like uncovering something that has always been quietly present beneath the noise of conditioning. Like stars hidden by daylight, reality itself never disappeared. It was only obscured, eclipsed. And this is one reason so many people miss awakening entirely. They expect fireworks. They expect permanence, ecstasy, vision, certainty, transcendence. But often the deepest realizations arrive so quietly that the mind initially dismisses them. There may be no cosmic explosion, no dramatic announcement, only a profound sense of simplicity, presence, spaciousness, aliveness, almost childlike in its directness. And ironically, that ordinariness is often the signature of what is genuine. Concepts can help orient us for a time. Books, teachings, philosophies, traditions, these can all serve as useful maps. But eventually every map must be set down, because no description of water can replace drinking it. There comes a point where seeking itself becomes another identity. And identities, even spiritual ones, eventually become limitations. What remains afterward is astonishingly simple. Life continues. The awakened person still pays bills, still experiences loss, still feels grief, frustration, uncertainty, illness, beauty, love, and joy. Awakening does not remove us from human experience. It deepens our relationship with it. The struggle softens, the resistance lightens, and something begins moving with life rather than against it. People often ask whether bliss becomes permanent. Sometimes bliss appears. Sometimes it doesn't. But more commonly, what emerges is something quieter and far more sustainable. A deep sense of being, almost an okayness, a subtle joy without object, a freshness in ordinary life, curiosity returning, presence returning, gratitude appearing in simple things once overlooked. A cup of coffee, wind through the trees, morning light across a room, the sound of rain, the face of another human being. Some people discover heightened sensitivities or unusual experiences along the way. These may involve intuition, energy perception, symbolic dreams, archetypal encounters, synchronicities, or other expanded states of awareness. But these experiences are not proof of superiority, nor are they purpose for awakening itself. Experiences are experiences. They arise, they pass. Truth remains, whether extraordinary phenomena occur or not. And perhaps one of the clearest signs of authentic realization is humility. Not performative humility, not spiritual modesty as identity, but genuine humility born from seeing how vast existence truly is. No awakening makes a human being fundamentally better than another. We remain human. We continue learning. We continue stumbling. We continue growing. Anyone claiming complete transcendence of humanity has usually constructed a more sophisticated spiritual identity rather than moved beyond identity altogether. And yet, despite all of this, awakening remains available to every human being. Not because everyone must become enlightened in some grand spiritual sense, but because awareness itself is already woven into the fabric of our existence. It is not imported from outside ourselves. It is remembered. There is the old Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. Life remains life, but now it is lived from a different center of gravity. And perhaps this is where spirituality finally matures. Not in escaping the world, but in returning to it more honestly, more compassionately, and more fully alive. We are not here to abandon humanity. We are here to embody consciousness within it. Awakening is not the end of living. It is the renewal of it, a quiet beginning hidden inside of the ordinary moment. And from that place, humanity takes its next step.